1, 2, 3.
Hello, welcome to Rock the Cash Bar. I'm Ben Mowbray.
And I'm Diane Gallagher.
Every week we pick one song and do a deep dive into the lyrics and explain the different ways they've been interpreted.
We will also discuss how the song connected to us on a personal level, focusing on all the embarrassing details.
Glad to have you here. Enjoy the show.
Diane, how many naked pictures of Kathy Ireland have you seen in the last 24 hours?
Luckily, I had all of them sent to Corbin for his birthday. Did you send him one? I requested everyone send him one.
Mm-hmm. I did a Google image search for Kathy Ireland, which it's a great way to spend 15 or 20 minutes, but I didn't I wanted to find like the one picture, and there's no topping everybody. So I stayed out of the Kathy Ireland porn swirl.
To the people who are confused, yesterday was my husband's birthday, and Kathy Ireland is one of his childhood favorite hot chicks. And so I told everyone to Google her and send him the hottest photo of her that they could find. And I asked if he got a lot. He said he got some, but he got a lot of other just like bullshit from people. And I was like, okay, people, follow my instructions. I wanted them flooded with Kathy Ireland photos.
Focus on the Kathy flood.
No one. This is why no one made good grades.
How did you get into Kathy? I only remember Kathy Ireland from, she was in that movie, what was it called? With Scott Bakula, where he was the high school football quarterback who was going back to school.
I'm sure Corbin knows. He's screaming it right now.
That's the only one. Necessary Roughness. Ha ha.
I think he knows her from Sports Illustrated. I have to assume.
You have the football phone?
Yeah.
I had the football phone. Everybody had the football phone. Hey, man, we're going into the California punk rock scene today. And this is we don't get to do this very often. We've had a couple of musicians on. We've had Henry Phillips. We had my cousin Pete on. I'm really thrilled to have. Yes, and now we have a genuine rock star, a titan of the local Houston punk scene, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Josh Wolf. Josh, how are you?
Welcome.
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thanks to have you. Your band is called The Dream Shake, yes?
Yeah. It's called Dream Shake, named after a specific move, or I guess group of moves that Hakeem Olajuwon from the Houston Rockets used to do. When he would shake someone off, it was called the Dream Shake. So we wanted to use that also because with a name like Dream Shake, it's hard to pinpoint what genre it is just by the name. Yeah. Like we could have called ourselves Nuclear Death or something like that, and people would have been like, "Oh, okay, I probably know what they sound like." But it's hard to do that with a name like Dream Shake. So
it's a nice surprise. Yeah. It sounds like a shoegaze band.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's the kind of the angle I was going for too. You got to listen before you can make a judgment.
There you go.
It works perfectly with your personality too, because I met you a couple of years ago. We worked together, and like you've got that laid back, strong, silent type personality that I really like to see in dudes. And then I heard, oh no, he's a singer in a band called Dream Shake. I'm like, I'd like to see that. I wonder what that's like. With your shaved head and your glasses and everything like that. I honestly thought like Diane, like it's probably pretty shoegazy. But then you came into the bar that we work at with the Dream Shake, and you're playing not even a stage. It's like a piece of plywood on the floor. Yeah. The audience is no partition, no distance from you whatsoever. And then you turned into a monster.
Yeah. I'm a pretty laid back dude most of the time, and I guess I'm able to get any hyperactivity or aggression or anything like that out through that. So, right. That's a good thing,
Perfect. It's my dream. Like we did stand-up comedy, and it's not the same like cathartic experience, because I would be at work and people would find out I did comedy, and I remember this girl I worked with going like, "But you're not funny." And I was like, "Yeah, not
people
here."
Say it to me all the time.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. I feel like stand-up comedy would be. I've thought about trying to do it, and it's very scary to me. It's more challenge. It seems like it would be more difficult to do stand-up comedy than to front a band, because I'll even try to crack jokes sometimes in between songs, and if it goes flat or if I can hear the confusion in the audience, we can just kick into a song and it's no big deal. But
you don't have to sit with that shit.
yeah. So I have a huge respect for stand-up comedy and stand-up comedians, and I've just been very intimidated. Never tried it.
No, we hate ourselves enough to do it. It's good.
Yeah.
I would be scared to do what you do, because like the amount of energy that you put out on stage and the amount of physical danger that you occasionally find yourself in is more than I'm willing to risk on stage.
Yeah, most of the time it's cool. Everyone's friends and stuff. Once in a while, you get someone, with ill intentions, but that's not that big of a problem usually, because all your friends are there, and
that person will get taken care of.
Yeah. And I've been doing this since 1994 is my first show that I played when I was 14. Whoa. And so it's just, it would be scarier and more odd to me to play for an audience that wasn't seated, if that made any sense, because it would be so hard to read, and just like I wouldn't be able to feel them back, I guess. I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like that would be scarier.
Yeah.
God, it would be fantastic to get you guys booked at like songwriters night at the Mucky Duck. Like, just not tell them who you are or what you're
I would love that. Or a church with a name like Dream Shake. We could even get a church gig somewhere, and see what we can do.
That's fun.
So you're fully committed. Your chest tattoo is Rock and Roll Nightmare, right? Like right from like from shoulder to shoulder. It's just like it's ripped in this scary movie font.
Yeah, it's a huge tattoo. I guess you can see. Here, we'll do the.
Yeah, it looks like it's a Sharpie.
There we go. My friend Arthur Bates, who's a local artist in Houston, a very, very good artist musically and drawing and stuff. He got into tattooing, and I like bad tattoos. I have a ton of bad tattoos, and I thought, I always wanted to get Rock and Roll Nightmare real big across my chest, because it's kind of a double meaning. It's one of my favorite albums of all time by this band called RKL, which stands for Rich Kids on LSD.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of a short description of my life. Rock and Roll Nightmare. It's like nothing's killed me, but stuff's freaked me out along the way. So. But I wanted him to do it because he had never done a tattoo before, or maybe he had done one or two tattoos, and I wanted it to be fucked up and off kilter and, a little messed up. And he ended up doing an amazing job on it, which, I was pleased with. But I was expecting it to look wrecked, which what I was going for. But, as far as the symmetry goes and everything, he did a really good job. But, again, he was a great artist to begin with. So,
right.
So, it worked out. That's not one of my worst tattoos. It's, like I said, I like bad ones, but
did he do other ones or just that one?
I have a Crass tattoo on my shoulder of the band Crass, their logo, and he did that one, and that one just looks, just like it's a real simple logo, right. So it just looks like the logo.
Nice.
Yeah. How did you get into this so young? Like at 14, I was 15 when I moved down here, and pretty shortly after, fell in with actually friends like Diane's husband Corbin started taking me to these like local punk rock shows, and I knew fuck all about punk rock then, and I know very little more about it now. But like I was so intimidated, like because I didn't like this. Okay, like I don't know what the symbols on the coats mean. I don't know. Like I was like. I didn't speak any of the language. I had none of the vocabulary. Like,
did they tell you like the what color the laces on the Doc Martens men, and if they were crossed or straight? Like there was so much to know.
There's a whole that whole lace code and everything. It's so I was a late bloomer. I was kind of a runt and picked on a lot. As the same story with most kids who get into this kind of thing, and I found metal, like heavy metal music, real early, like probably 6 or 7, because I have an older sister who she wasn't really into heavy stuff. She was as heavy as it got for her was probably like Foreigner, which I like Foreigner, but she dated this guy that lived behind my grandma, and he was like a metalhead, and she was 10 years older than me. So when I was like 6, 7 years old, my older brother wouldn't let me hang out with him because he was like, 10 or 11, something like that. And yeah, that kind of age difference, it's hard, when you're like 10, 11, you don't want to hang out with a 6-year-old really. So I tagged along with my sister and her boyfriend all the time. And I was just drawn to, metal, like Iron Maiden and Judas Priest and, Dokken, not really death metal or thrash or anything, but so very, very early. I remember my sister for my 7th birthday got me a cassette of Ozzy Osbourne Ultimate Sin. And
let me ask, was it the posters on this guy's bedroom wall that sucked you in first before the music?
It was
Iron Maiden posters were so good.
Yeah, they were.
You know what? I'm glad you mentioned that. That was now that I think about it, that's a huge part of what drew me in. It's a huge part of what drew me in. The imagery of Eddie and Iron Maiden, especially because he was a huge Iron Maiden fan and he did have posters everywhere. And I think it was just the imagery and the rebellion of it. But musically, I couldn't stop listening to it. I've had headphones connected to my head since age 6 or 7, as I'm gonna say probably 7 years old. And my sister started taking guitar lessons that she quit early. She took, maybe a few weeks and she quit. And during that time, her guitar teacher said you should buy Metallica Ride the Lightning and Metallica Master of Puppets. And so she bought them and she didn't like them. It wasn't really her thing. She was more into like, Journey and Foreigner and stuff like that. So she gave them to me. And so I was about, 7 or 8. So I already had Ozzy Osbourne Ultimate Sin and Ride the Lightning and Master of Puppets. So I had a taste for heavy, fast stuff already.
Yeah.
And so this is about the time when the song Skate and Destroy by The Faction like comes into my life, why it's such an important song to me. Around 88, 89, my brother skateboarded a lot. We lived in San Antonio and he wasn't like into punk or metal too much. He was more of a mainstream guy, but he was a very, very good skateboarder athletically. And all of his friends were much, much cooler than him. They were, they would have the Misfit shirts and they were kind of punk rock, but they really couldn't, they really couldn't, call my brother a poser or anything like that because he
was good.
he outskated all of them. He was the best skateboarder out of the whole group. And I loved his friends. They were really nice to me. They let me hang out. He would shoo me away, typical big brother stuff. But one particular day, he let me tag along with him. And we went to a neighbor's house down the street. And they put on a skate video, which was the first Bones Brigade home video, the one before the Animal Chin one. I can't remember the name of it. It might have just been Home Video or something like that, but
I'm nodding along like I know. Like I was never in skate culture at all.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to educate me on some of this stuff.
Bones Brigade was a skate group in the 80s that was known for just being the coolest group, coolest imagery. Members were in punk bands. They were just the coolest skate team of the 80s, that you could think of. And so we were watching one of their videos and the song comes on and I'm watching the skateboarding on the half pipe, but it's the song that just changed me. Like I only heard it one time and it left such an impact on me that I remembered the opening bass line and the opening, that opening part.
Yep.
Just imprinted in my brain, from this one time hearing it. It was, and I remember the chorus, skate and destroy. And so for years and years and years, when I would meet another punk rocker or a record collector or anything, I'd be like, hey, you ever heard a song that goes and I would do the whole thing and the chorus is skate and destroy and nothing for years and years. And it was this like, thing that was driving me crazy, because this was, I couldn't just type in, this is before the internet, and
Yeah.
and
No Shazam.
I didn't get the internet until, or let's say I didn't get my first email address until 2005. I didn't start actually actively surfing the net. So,
That
from
is
hearing
real
the
late to come
song,
to it.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, I said that's just real late to come to the internet. I thought I was late. I got an email address in '98, I think, my first year in college.
So 98 was around the first time I heard of the internet. Like my friend
Yeah.
Frank, and all we did was go on chat rooms and start fights with people. That's all we tried to do. That was the whole use of our internet. Whatever they were about, we were going to be against, and that's all we did, really. And that's what the internet was to me.
That's what it still is.
It is.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yep.
That's just Twitter.
Just a lot more done up. Yeah, you're exactly right. But for years and years, I searched for the song. Meanwhile, collecting just records and demos, just obsessively, and not starting when I was 8. Like I started getting into punk and stuff and playing in bands when I was 14. But the song "Skate and Destroy," that specific song, since I was 8 years old, just played in a loop in my head. When I would think about it. And finally, in 2001, I'm on tour with my band, Reason I'm Insanity, and we're in Gainesville, Florida, and I'm hanging out with my friend, Sam Watson, and we're just hanging out in the living room, and the fucking song came on. It came on. It came on, and I was like, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it right now. How what a chapter that closed. And I just heard the song. I knew what it was with that opening bass line. I knew exactly what it was, and I was like, hold up. I stopped the conversation. I went over and I was like, if they say "Skate and Destroy" in this song, then I'm gonna lose it. And sure enough, "Skate and Destroy." And I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And I had finally found this song, elusive song. It's from 1988 to 2001. What is that, 12? I don't even know how many years that is. What is that, 14?
No, don't make me do math.
Yeah, I can't do math either.
Well, it's interesting because I just assumed, since you picked this song, that like you would have been deep into skate culture, and like a skater, because like all the singers of this band are professional skateboarders.
I know. Yeah, I do love skateboarding, and I'm a big fan of it. And I tried my hand at it back then as a little kid, kind of trying to follow my brother and his friends around. Yeah. And I tried again later when I started actually playing in punk bands at the age of 14. And I was not good. I just, I just couldn't take to it. I would put as much time in, skating with my friends, but, like they were learning the tricks and I wasn't. I was slamming. I kept slamming. So I was just like, I'm going to, see how I'll do on drums, and so, I'm glad I made that choice too, because I ended up, doing better playing music rather than skating. So, but I still watch it all the time, and I love skate culture,
Yeah.
Totally love
What do you
it,
remember feeling in like the first moments before you went on stage the first few times? Like, were you, because like the first couple of years of me doing stand, really I did stand up for about 7 years, and it seemed like before really every show, like the minute before I would go on stage, like the last thing I would think to myself is, how the fuck did you get yourself into this?
Yeah.
there's no way out. Like you got to go out there for 20 minutes and who knows what the fuck is going to happen. Like did you ever feel anything like that? Or
yeah, the very first show I ever played was it was June 3rd, 1994, and it was at a party. It was the Old School Bonfire, and it was like we all had to bring our old skateboards and skate shirts and magazines and stuff and throw them into the Old School Bonfire. So no one knew that there would be an eBay. So if we knew there would be an eBay, then we wouldn't have sacrificed that stuff to the skate gods or whatever way we were trying to do. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was and it was put together by the older kids, but we had our band. First band I ever had, it was called Noxious Jerk. I looked it up in the dictionary, a synonym to, deadly, and I saw noxious, and I was like, okay, and what can I put with that? Noxious Jerk. It doesn't, terrible name, but
no, it's perfect.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks. Maybe I'll try to bring it back. But we played very basic, terrible, as basic as punk as you can get it. This stuff was punk by default, not because it would fit any kind of genre. It's just because it was so bad it didn't have any other home other than punk. It was the only home that would take it. But the first time we played, I was real nervous. And my way of getting around that was saying, we suck, we suck. I kept saying, we suck on the microphone.
Right.
And before or after each song, so I'm gonna beat you to the punch. We already know we suck, so don't tell us,
lower your expectations.
Exactly. But this older guy had a mohawk and a KMFDM t-shirt on, and he came, we played our set, and he came and grabbed me. He's like, listen, kid. He's like, don't tell us that you suck. He's like, when you go up there, even if you suck, like, try to sell it that you're good, and you're gonna trick more people than you think, just with that. So don't say you suck. Let us find out on our own.
Yeah, let us decide.
What? I'm sorry?
I'll say, yeah, let us decide, because a lot of people who go to live shows don't even know. There's like, fuck yeah.
It's just live music, It's just like, whatever. It's just like, I always found it funny when I lived in Austin when people would say, oh man, I just love live music, and they would just leave it at that. It's just, that's like, like saying, I love eating, it's like, oh, yeah, of course, be more specific. But
what's awesome? Water and air. Feels so good.
Sometimes I feel like I can't live without it. But the nervousness, I guess, went away early because I knew that the audience that I'm shooting for don't listen to top 40. They're a bunch of weirdos like me. I knew when I found punk, and the way I got into punk rock was, because I was listening to like metal. Ben, you've seen the mullet t-shirt. Oh, yeah. That's like, height of the metal, thrash metal and death metal and stuff. And when I was 14, these guys that went to my school, they were fucking weird as fuck, and they were mean, and I was enamored with them, and I had to be friends with these guys, and they were really, really mean to me. And they, like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the term gatekeeper, but in punk, a lot of the times, or in many subcultures, I'm sure, you have people deciding whether you're worthy to come into the show or get a hold of this tapes that and these guys were just the top general of gatekeepers. I mean, they were vicious gatekeepers. They physically assaulted me because they did not want me to come around and try to be a punk. And I don't know if I was just a glutton for punishment, because I would come every day and just, hey, you guys make me a tape? And they'd be like, fuck off, poser, blah, blah, blah. And I'd come the next day, hey, you make me a tape? Over and over,
You're like the Altuve of punk music.
I just,
just kept coming back.
I kept coming back. And finally, I had my other friends, and we had started a band after that Noxious Jerk band called The Cartoons, which we had gotten a lot better at our instruments, and we were playing real fast now. And I don't know if it was them catching wind of us having that band and hearing it or what, but they finally were like, all right, let's make this kid a mixtape, Yeah. And so one day and these guys were scary. They were like in gangs too. They were like punks they were, like, and they were, they should have been in 10th and 11th grade, but they were in 8th grade. They were like
Oh, shit,
scary
yeah.
older dudes. But they finally made me a tape, and it, again, like it felt like I had conquered something by obtaining this. But they were such in gatekeeper mode. The next day I would come and they would tell me to fuck off. So then I'd be like, all right, give it another day, and then come back, and they'd, be like, hey, we made you another tape. And I'd go home and there'd be nothing on it. It was a prank, it was a joke. And then I'd show up and be like, there's nothing on the tape. And they'd be like, fuck you, and punch me in my stomach and walk off.
Good Lord.
And then most people would have given up, but it spoke to me too much. Like, I would remember that Skate and Destroy song. I was just like, I know this is the gateway to find that song. I know that was punk.
My future depends on this.
My future sanity depends on it. But, and finally it was when those guys were like, yeah, fuck it, you're not going anywhere, you can hang out. And even without their approval, I just felt like when I found punk, I no longer was a runt. I no longer, it's kind of like I've figured out how to stand up for myself, and how to, like, it was a realization that, like, oh, I'm a punk now, or I've always been a punk. I've just found out, because their rules don't apply to me. Their standards don't apply to me anymore. Like, I belong to this tribe, a different, and when I say their rules don't apply to me, not basic societal rules, like, but standards of how you're supposed to dress, how you're supposed to, whatever,
just what your goals are supposed to be, what your life in general is supposed to look like. Like, it's a different way of looking at that. Completely, you can reframe yourself. Like, now I'm going to live the rock and roll lifestyle. I'm going to live the artistic lifestyle, and I'll make the sacrifices that come along the way.
Yeah.
You may not have seen it at the time, but that showed just confidence, because you're like, you just didn't tuck your tail between your legs and go home. You're just like, no, fucking coming back.
Yeah. Well, I guess it was maybe not confidence, just determination. Determination. I was just like, well, I'm not good at sports, okay at basketball, but not good enough to be on a team, not good to excel. I can't skate really. I'm gonna be a punk, and it just,
the way that song stuck with you, only like true people that love punk music can hear a song like this and love it, because there are some people, they're never gonna like it. It's never gonna touch them in the same way. It, like, I don't know. I mean, I was the same way. Like, I liked metal, I liked punk, I liked new wave, but some people just never could connect. For me, it was a little bit of anger, it's like how I was angry at that age, and it spoke to me. And I think some people just maybe were a little too happy for it. I don't know. But the fact that it stuck with you so hard, where I was just like, yeah, you were never a poser. Like, it spoke to you.
Yeah, that was the thing. It's I never found any kind of use in backing something that I didn't truly like, but believe in or like, and just the ideals of punk. It's almost like a vigilante-esque mentality. Like, a lot of people see punks as bad folks, and a lot of them are bad folks, but a majority of punks, like, especially within the community, have this, when I say vigilante-esque vibe, not like they're going out, I guess they're like just criminals standing up for what's right. You know what I mean? Like, society looks at them a lot as criminals, but they don't have a criminal heart. They have, they're looking out for, people who need help and stuff like that,
Yeah.
And most punks are pacifists too, which is another thing I like. I like being around, peaceful people, for the most part. When dumb stuff breaks out, of course that happens. But that was something I learned later about how many punks are pacifists and peaceful,
And intelligent and social justice warriors at the same time, you know.
Yeah, you're not gonna find any. If someone is like a Trump supporter or even kind of leans that way a little bit, they're most of the time they're either, you know, a little older and just kind of like out of touch, or
Yeah, they
you
just
know,
lost the plot a little bit or a lot.
yeah, or they're not, or they're just playing, you know, playing punk, you know, they're not,
Yeah.
they don't have anything. You can't come to punk shows and start talking pro cop stuff, and you
Yeah.
know, you're not going to want to come back, you know,
Yeah,
probably.
oddly, like probably not pro cop, but in a weird way, you could probably like pro Trump, because I think there's a whole lot of dudes our age that are Trump supporters just because that's the best thumb you can put in people's eye now. You know,
That
like it's
well,
not that they agree with him or anything like that. It's just like, oh, this guy's pissing off a lot of people. I like pissing off a lot of people.
and I think that, so oddly enough with Trump, so if you go to a punk show that's like mostly young people, people in their 30s or younger, which is most punk shows, you're not going to find any Trump supporters, like
Yeah.
very, very rarely. But it's interesting you bring that point up, because a lot of old school punks that were around in the 70s and 80s that are older now, a surprisingly large amount of them are Trump supporters, because when they look at Trump, they see this like almost vigilante,
shake it till it breaks.
anti-establishment,
Yeah.
overtaking the government. You know, these January 6 guys, you know, they think they're overtaking the government, like in the same way, you know, punks have sang about it for 40 years. But, you know, when punks sing about it, they're not overturning it to turn it into a fascist dictatorship.
Exactly.
They want
Right.
to overturn it to give more freedom to the people. That's what true
Yes.
anarchy is everyone self, governs themselves, you know. And that's what, not, you know, let's overthrow the government to put a fascist dictator in, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But I think
that's
it's
what
everyone governs themselves in the sense that everyone governs themselves while they're loving everybody else. You know, it seems like the other side is like it's the same argument. Okay, I totally believe in self-governance, but also fuck you. Like
well, I think the fuck you comes from how fucked up the world is, you know, and how, you know, we grow up thinking, like, for example, you know, we grow up thinking that America's are the good guys of the world and this and that, and then, you know, you find out stuff later, you know, that's like, like, holy shit, you know, we're not the good guys, you know, in many situations, and just things like that, and like hypocrisy, religion, you know. I was raised Christian, and I held on to it, but even after questioning it for years and years, I held on to it up through my late teenage years, early 20s, even after I was a punk. And I remember getting made fun of for it, and it making me, even after I knew, I was just like, I know none of it makes sense, but these guys are making fun of me for it, so I have to throw it in their face, like, more.
you gotta react to it.
That's the way I react to that. So and that, you know, I that makes me resentful to religion for putting me in that awkward situation, you know. And it's just like, it was me, you know.
It's the same journey a lot of us did. Like, it wasn't until like your like early 20s you're like, all right, let me just sit down and look at this.
Sure,
all right,
like none of it makes sense.
None of this is real.
The first time I quit, like, I asked my mom, I guess I had got caught wind that people in Africa mostly aren't Christian. They have a different religion. And so I asked her, and I was like, well, what if you're born like in Africa and they don't, you know, in your family and your whole community, their religion's something else, and you don't get an opportunity to ever hear of Christianity. No one ever showed it to you. What happens to them? And my mom, you know, I remember her trying to, like, you know, kind of come up with something, and she was just like, yeah, they go to hell too, and just kind of left it at that. And I was like, whoa, holy shit.
Yeah,
They
I
get
asked.
out too. That's strict. That is so strict.
I asked a similar question, but it was like I went to this Bible camp with it. They would send missionaries to countries like that hadn't had a whole lot of Christian exposure, which is bullshit because every country has had a lot of Christian exposure now. But those kids they're really young men. They would come back from that and you'd ask them like, okay, well, what if they didn't accept Christ? Just because you were over there and talked to them for 15 minutes and then just go, then they're going to hell. Like it was just like that's it. Like you were exposed. Like some weird dude came to your town and told you about this guy Jesus for 15 minutes and you said, okay, that's crazy. You have denied the Lord, straight to hell.
Wow. Yeah. So I guess, they want to make sure and just get everyone in that net. It's just like all the deniers. Yeah.
Well, it's almost like the question that I had after that was just like, well, what did your missionary trip do then? It just sounds like you consigned more souls to the devil than you signed up for Jesus. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, it's a very intrusive religion, so that they're just going by protocol, I guess.
I could do an 8-hour podcast on how I lost my religion, but let's do you want to do the lyrics of Skate and Destroy? Should we do that?
I don't know the lyrics to it. All the lyrics. If you guys, I can pull them up on my phone.
We have got
them.
Oh yeah, if you've got them, yeah, we could go through those. That's cool.
Forget the light, skate and destroy. Pass the jogger, skate and destroy. Snap it back, skate. Snap it back must be a skating term, right? That I'm not familiar with.
I think a lot of this is,
skate and destroy. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I mean, it just sounds to me like we're just talking about skating through the streets here, right?
Yeah, I think so. Pass the jogger.
Forget the light. Run that light. Don't get killed.
Yeah, that just sounds like hauling ass down the street to get to the convenience store to buy some baseball cards and a Slurpee and with some suicidal tendencies on the boombox right there.
Yeah, I think if this had crossed my desk when I was 12 years old, I think I might have been a different story for me as well. It's not a cause or political belief. It's something in my thinking. If you agree, it's cool by me. At least I'm not a robot. Yeah, damn right.
That can apply to more than skating, I guess.
Yeah.
Right?
Some of this can too. I'm not afraid of things I read. I won't divide my friends up. The dictatorship of people's minds is not what I strive for. That seems very, very relevant today. I mean, that seems like the whole free speech and cancel culture argument on the internet, sort of all bundled up into one right there in 1984.
I gotta admit, I did not know that the lyrics to Skate and Destroy were going to be so profound.
A nice surprise for you today.
It's a very nice surprise. I like the song even more now. That's cool.
The cops are coming after me. Their sons are BMXers. This is what I wanted to ask you about. And this is a corny. Is
that an us versus them?
Yeah. Is that skaters versus BMXers? Is that a thing?
I know with my brother and his friends back then, it was. It definitely was. And I remember one time when they let me hang out with them, we were at a ditch called the Ripper, and the BMX kids in that neighborhood were a little bit older. So my brother and his friends were kind of scared of them. Then I remember one time when the BMX kids came around, it was bad news. We had to get out of there quick. They were like, the BMX kids, let's go. So
well, I wonder if the divide too is money. Like those bikes are expensive, well, I don't know. Some quality skateboards are too.
Skateboard stuff, skateboards and stuff can get. Yeah. I think I don't know about how it is anymore. Hopefully, like it's they probably hang out together now. I imagine metalheads and punks used to hate each other, and now they hang out. So
yeah, I mean, X Games I think brought them all together, right?
That's probably a big one. Yeah, that's probably a huge reason.
All right. 4 more lines.
They always try to stop me, but urethane is faster than boots. I like that. Urethane is faster than boots. You may be in the parking lot throwing up your contents. Yeah, that's where I would be. So what? Who cares? I know I don't. Be a hood. Don't be good. Yeah, there's a promise. That's what I like about this song. Was just like it's like the promises that you make to your friends when you're 14 or 15 years old, not realizing that you're just going to naturally break them. You know, like it can't be like you can do it. You can still play the music. You can still play it, but you can't really live the life the whole
No,
way
you
through.
can't. Yeah, none of us would make it past the age. If I actually lived just every day, just partying, getting fucked up, just playing all night, I probably would have been dead, but in my 20s, you know what I mean? We all
Oh yeah.
But
it's funny that we're doing this episode now because for my husband's birthday yesterday, we went to go see Jackass Forever.
And, yeah, I want to see that.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
They have a new crew coming in, right?
I'm not going to ruin it for you, but there's one guy in the new crew that I wish he'd been there the whole time, but he's too young. He fits in so good.
Is it Poopy?
It's Poopy? It's Poopsies.
Poopsie. Okay, I've had my eye on him. I can't wait.
It's so good. But you look at them like you're like, they're in their 50s. This is the last time they're going to do this. And Knoxville fucking almost dies. So like, wow. You got to put an end to it. We said in our early 20s, but here I'm like, all right, 50s, they're done.
Luckily we don't play shows every weekend. I do admit I will go hard when we play shows, and we're about to go on tour and stuff, but I don't know. I don't stage dive anymore, so that's a thing.
All right,
that's a good thing from getting old.
How many shows are on your tour?
7 or 8. We leave. It's spring. It's the week and the following weekend of spring break. So March 13th through like the 21st or something like that. And we're going out to the West Coast. Play some punk.
There you go. What's the like most dangerous that you get now? You said you don't stage dive anymore, so just putting it all out there energy wise.
Well, I can be a hypocrite at times. So last time I said I'll never stage dive again was not the last time, but one of the times recently in recent years was at lunch at Magnolia Cafe in Austin, and that night I was stage diving to Annihilation Time. So I guess it's just if I'm moved enough. I guess it takes a lot more to move me to do it now. Billy Boyd made me stage dive at the Spit show, and I didn't want to, but he made me. So if it's convincing enough peer pressure, and if I'm moved enough, then I'll probably still do anything, really.
Billy Boyd is a legendary bartender, Diane. Just a legend.
Okay. Yeah, he is. Yeah.
What's it like when you go into you're going to a new city and you're playing a venue, and like the local punks there are looking at you, they got to be looking at you like, who the fuck are these guys? Like, how long does it take you to prove that you're in the club too? Or that you've passed through a legitimate gatekeeper?
We've by this point we've passed. There's no more gatekeep. I don't think they can gatekeep old guys anymore. And I think the internet. When the internet came along, I think that whole gatekeeping thing, thankfully, went out the door. Because you got to think how many talented kids were discouraged from playing punk rock or metal or anything like that because these jerks want to feel superior to them and make them feel bad and call them posers and such, right? Think about all the great music that we're missing out on because these kids went into something else because of the whole gatekeeping thing. And so now you can't be a gatekeeper with the internet. It's like name me 3 songs or et cetera, et cetera. You know these bands. You don't know these bands. The kid can find out right away. So that levels the playing field. And so, which I think is a good thing. A lot of older punks kind of miss. Oh, it's too easy now for to be a punk or whatever. It's just like, shit, you're just mad because it wasn't around when we had to look for demos and stuff for years, and that created a great feeling when we would find it. It was like a little treasure, but if we had the choice to have the internet
Yes.
back then, we would have. Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. Exactly. You
I
could
mean, there was
share
a
your-
nostalgia of like going to Record Rack or like, Cactus Music, and then like finding the deep cuts and the, the local bands and the tapes and getting to know it. But like, fuck yeah, if there had been an easier way, I'd have my mom drive me there,
Oh yeah. And you can still do that. You can still go to record stores and do it the old way, if you want to. But I've always just been a fan of the music and yeah, I love that the internet has made it so accessible, because
So
now
you're
punk
saying-
shows.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just saying now punk shows, most of the time are pretty well attended. There's years and years and years where we played to our friends and that's it. And we still have those shows now, but it's just not as often. So
Yeah.
yeah.
The thing Ben was telling me about your band, and tell me if I'm wrong, that you guys do it kind of like old school punk style, where it's like fast, hard, under 1 minute, next song, like
Yeah. That's pretty much
Minor
the exact
Threat style.
That's pretty much the exact formula. Yeah.
Yeah.
Most songs are right around a minute or under. If we got a long intro, it might be a minute and a half. But that's
It's good stuff.
that's it. Old school punk. Yeah.
Fun.
Excellent. You want to turn it over to Jeremy?
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. So I told Jeremy, I was like, if you want to sit out this week, if this one's too hard, and he was like, nope, already got it. So
I'm sure
we're
he
gonna
does.
we're gonna see how Jeremy connects the faction to Tinted Windows. Let's watch together.
Hey friends, welcome to our most heavily researched edition of 6 Degrees Yet, where this week we try to connect an 80s hardcore band to a power pop supergroup from the 2000s. As the faction was a band made up of professional skateboarders, it's probably no surprise that one of their first releases was on Skate Rock Volume 1, a compilation put out by Thrasher magazine. That compilation also included Austin hardcore legends, the Big Boys, whose guitarist Tim Kerr would go on to join another loose collective, this time of Northwest musicians, in The Monkey Wrench, a group that also featured Mudhoney's Steve Turner and Mark Arm. Arm himself would later be a member of Wild Rats, a group that included original Stooges guitarist Ron Ashton, whose original singer, Iggy Pop, would collaborate with guitarist Troy Van Leeuwen in the live version of Pop's 2016 album, Post-Pop Depression. Van Leeuwen, also an original member of Perfect Circle, has since been replaced in that band's current incarnation by James Iha, who also played guitar for Tinted Windows. So this week we went The Faction, to the Big Boys, to the Monkey Wrench, to Iggy and the Stooges, to A Perfect Circle, to Tinted Windows. Back to Diana.
That was amazing. Well done. That was well done.
Good
I didn't
job.
know James Iha was in Tinted Windows. He that's my brother's favorite band.
Tinted
Smashing
Windows?
No,
Oh.
I'm sorry. I meant to say Smashing Pumpkins is my brother's favorite band. And
Yeah.
wow, that's cool. I wonder if my brother likes Tinted Windows. That was a great job. He did a great job with that.
He does
you-
every episode. He does just the funnest, like 6 degrees you'll ever see.
You guys
That's
would get
awesome.
along great. Next time he's in town, I want to take him up to Grand Prize, introduce the two of you.
Ben,
You guys
he'll
would-
be here in early
Yeah.
March. He's coming in early
really?
March. And he's going to be on the
Okay.
podcast with us.
So before your turn, Jeremy has like the most like the best categorized, the best ordered musical mind of anybody I've ever talked to. Like, he
Music
just knows
catalog.
every
in his
band,
brain.
music cat, like everybody who played on it, everybody who produced it. Like, it's just fucking insane to talk to him about music.
Yeah.
I bet that's probably how he's able to do that. He's just, he knows it all. That's awesome.
Yeah, no doubt
Yeah.
he does a little research, but like I couldn't do it. Like I wouldn't even know where. Like even with the internet, even with my phone in front of me, I still couldn't get all the way back there. You just have to have those connections in your brain, otherwise you can't pull off a trick like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right, Josh, here's one of my favorite parts when we have a guest. Do you have a guilty pleasure song?
Well, so I don't believe in guilty pleasures. I think if something makes you happy, then you should be all about it. But there is a specific song that definitely fits that criteria, and it's Hulk Hogan's intro, his coming to the ring song.
His ring entry music. I
his
am
ring
a
entry music, yeah.
real
Real
American.
I don't know what it
The
is.
rights of every
Something-
man.
I'm going to
Something- when I
research
hear
it
that
and
song-
insert it right now.
something gets stirred up in me every time I hear that song, and I don't know what it is. I wish I can deny it. I could push it down and bottle it up. It's the best I can do. But if I hear that song, especially if I'm drunk, then like I don't even know how I can react. Yeah. Makes me want to flip a coffee table, to be honest. It's
flip a coffee table, jump off the top turnbuckle, rip your shirt off.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And I just recently found out it was by Rick Derringer, and because I always loved Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo. I think that's a great song, and the drumming in that song is really, really good. And when I finally found out that Rick Derringer did the Hulk Hogan song, I was like, oh, all right, it makes sense. That makes a little sense.
I'm excited to hear it, see if I have the same reaction. Were you like into wrestling, like specifically Hulk Hogan when you were young?
When I was a little kid, yeah, I loved Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior and the Legion of Doom and all the, all the main guys.
Awesome.
I was arguing with somebody at the bar one night over who exactly are real Americans and who is not. And I told him, like, look, you would get court-martialed at a G.I. Joe and you're a disgrace to Hulkamania.
That's the most un-American sentencing you can get. It's just being court-martialed from G.I. Joe and kicked out of Hulkamania. No more vitamins and prayers for you.
This has been awesome. Before we let you go, I want you to promote yourself so our listeners can figure out where to see and hear more of you, like your socials, website, where your band's playing.
Okay. The next live performance that I'm doing with my band Dream Shake, that's really I'm playing with two bands currently, and everything else is kind of like dormant. But anyway, sorry. The next Dream Shake show, I believe, is March 13th at Trip 6, which is an awesome punk venue here in Houston. It's like one of the only places that's kind of keeping the DIY underground punk scene going right now. So many thanks to Trip 6, and if you guys can make it out to a show out there, it's a really, really fun spot. But March 13th, excuse me, Trip 6, Dream Shake at Trip 6. And I think that's about it as far as stuff coming up soon. And I run a YouTube channel called Ugly Audio, which I post videos, lots of punk stuff, old and new. And my Instagram is Idiot Scientist is my name on Instagram. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming in and talking to us, man. This is great. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you very much. This is a lot of fun. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Right. We'll see you soon. Thanks, Josh.
All right, take it easy.
Take care.
That was fun.
You have fun with the character, huh?
Oh, that was great. He's a very nice guy too.
Yeah, that's what I like about him. That's what's so much fun is you talk to him in person and he's very sincere, he's very genuine, he's very sort of within himself. And then when he gets on stage, man, I'm not kidding you, he lets it all out. He's a volcanic performer. Like, you could go look at Idiot Scientist on Instagram. Like, he is no joke. When he is on stage, he lets it all hang out.
I'm gonna be honest. I never met the guy till today, and I, briefly looked at his Instagram before we started, and I was like, "This is gonna be wild." But he was very polite, very calm.
He's good people.
Yeah. So next week, I don't know what we're doing. Ben, it's your turn to choose. Do you know what we're doing?
I do know who we're doing, but I don't know which song we're doing. We're doing because, and this is not somebody that I'm a fan of their music, but I know very, very little about it. They're, as far as I'm concerned, a very recent artist to emerge, which should be interesting for us. But I have taken a strange liking to Billie Eilish of late, so I'm sifting through her stuff. We're gonna spend a week with Billie Eilish. I'll see. So I'll let you know. But
we need to do some modern stuff. We're these buddy daddies that keep doing our old shit. And we need to start getting into the new music a little bit more. So I'm very happy that you're taking us down this path.
I came to Billie Eilish in an even sadder old man way than because she played on the James Bond soundtrack. It's even worse than that, how I came to Billie Eilish. We'll talk about it next week.
All right. My dogs are going nuts. I hope you can't hear that.
We'll see you soon, Vogue.
Vogue.
1, 2, 3. Rock the Cash Bar is produced by Diane Gallagher, music by Chuck Savage and Eddie Hawkins. Special thank you to Jeremy Essig for 6 Degrees and to Sara Wessling for the Guilty Pleasures vocals. Our website is rockthecashbarpodcast.com, and there you can find links to our Spotify playlist and to our Patreon. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next week.